The top stories tonight in Y News. President Rodrigo Duterte approves the Energy Department's recommendation to continue the no disconnection policy for low-income consumers.
President Duterte has approved the Department of Agriculture's proposal to review the suggested increase in the country's pork imports amid the supply crisis.
The death toll due to an ammonia leak at the NAVOTAS City Ice Plant rose to 2. Supporters and party mates of Vice President Leni Robredo are pushing for her presidential bid in the May 2022 polls.
Singing and chanting will be banned at the Tokyo Games this summer.
And NASA offers food scientists up to $500,000 reward for new menu of astronauts in deep space. Good evening, Philippines and the world. Today is Thursday, February 4, 2021. I am Harleen Delgado.
Join us in the next hour as we deliver today's top stories around the country and in other parts of the world. I'm Angelo Castro III.
We are also seen in 1,935 satellite monitoring centers nationwide and via live streaming worldwide through the UNTV News and Rescue social media accounts and our website, untvweb.com. I am William Theo.
First in the news. Good news to low-income families that are still struggling to pay their electricity bill during the enhanced community quarantine. You can now continue to enjoy your power supply without fear of disconnection this month. Rosa Licaz will tell us why.
President Rodrigo Duterte met with his cabinet last night. One of the agenda was the recommendation of the Department of Energy to extend the no disconnection policy for Lifeliner or low-income consumers, which was immediately approved by the President. This means their electric supply will not be cut this February. Lifeliners are those households with monthly low electric consumption of about 100 kilowatt-hour or lower.
The President readily agreed, given that electricity is a basic necessity our countrymen cannot live without. Kaya po makakahinga na po ng malalim ang ating mga kababayan na mababa o walang kita. Hindi po kayo mapuputulan ng kuryente.
Low-income families also have the option to pay their electric bill through installment basis.
Para doon sa deferred payments for Lifeliners, pati daw po yung mga nagamit na kuryente ng Enero at Pebrero kasama po doon sa deferred payment scheme.
Meanwhile, the Duterte administration also urged the Congress to extend the Lifeline electricity rate subsidies from 2021 to 2051, or for a 30-year period. In June, the implementation of the Lifeline rate provision under Section 73 of the Republic Act 10150, or the Electric Power Reform Act, also known as EPIRA Law of 2001, will expire. Recently, the Senate passed the bill extending the implementation of the subsidized electricity for 10 years. Rosa Licaz, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Have you ever looked at your water bill and thought, what does environmental charge mean? And why do I need to pay for it? Well, let's take a closer look at some of the components of your water bill in Ray Pelayo's report.
The first step in changing the way you use water in the future is by understanding how much water you use today and does it affect the environment. On your monthly water bill, you will recognize an environmental charge, which is 20% of the water charge. Metropolitan Water Works and Sewerage System, or MWSS, explains that an environmental charge is used for services of concessionaires in cleaning a household wastewater.
Yung tubig na nagamit mula sa ating mga pinampaligo, pinaghugasan o yun napupunta sa palikuran, ito ay hindi natin dinediretso sa mga kailugan, no? Ito ay sasailalim sa isang treatment process, no? Bago siya itapon o ibalik muli dun sa mga bodies of water natin or waterways para makaiwas sa pollution, no?
Part of the service is the dislodging once every 5 years, which costs more than 4,000 pesos, but concessionaires Maynilad and Manila Water does not charge additional fees for it.
The MWSS regulatory offices is encouraging all the consumers to regularly dislodge their septic tanks or regularly po magpasipsip, dahil po ito po ay to protect the environment. Kasi po pag mag-overflow yan ay yun, hindi na po natin-treat properly ang wastewater.
MWSS said wastewater cleaning serves around 75% of residents in Metro Manila and nearby provinces. Others, like informal settlers, are directly discharging their waste in creeks flowing to bodies of water. Improper disposal of wastewater can lead to high level of pollutants in rivers and even pose a great risk to human health. For those who would like to avail of dislodging services, you may call on Maynilad and Manila Water hotline flashed in your screen. Ray Pelayo, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
In other news, after imposing a 60-day price ceiling on some pork and chicken products, President Rodrigo Duterte approved the Department of Agriculture's proposal to review the suggested increase in the country's pork imports. Meanwhile, the government has formed a task force on economic intelligence dubbed Econ Intel. Rosalie Cos will give us the details live. Rosalie? Yes, Rosalie, good evening.
Good evening, William. To address the high prices as well as the lack of supply of pork products, the Department of Agriculture wants to review the expansion of the minimum access volume or MAV on pork imports. MAV refers to the volume of quantity of a specific agricultural commodity that may be imported with a lower tariff. Currently, the MAV for pork imports is 54,210 metric tons. Thus, President Duterte agrees with the recommendation.
Now, as for the projections of pork supplies for this year, the Department of Agriculture estimates that with a demand of 1,618,355 metric tons and the projections of the 2021 supplies, we will need to begin the process of reviewing the MAV.
But for now, the pork imports from Visayas and Mindanao will be intensified.
Aralan na po natin yan, no? At alam naman po natin ang proseso, ang presidente ang mag-authorize niyan and Congress will be given 15 days to concur with the decision. Pero tinitignan po natin muna kung sapat ang supply galing sa Visayas, Mindanao at ibang parte ng Luzon.
Aside from this, the Chief Executive also approves the creation of a sub-task group on economic intelligence to go after smuggler, profiteers, and hoarders of agricultural products. This will be led by the Department of Agriculture and the Department of Trade and Industry.
Kung meron mga grupo o negosyante na pinagsasamantalahan ang pandemya para pagkakitaan ang taong bayan, hindi po ito palalampasin.
That's it. Back to you, William.
Yes, thank you, Rosalie Cos, reporting live. Blaming unscrupulous traders and wholesalers who are taking advantage of the tight supply of hogs to jack up its prices in the market, the Department of Agriculture is planning to directly buy from hog raisers in the country. Ray Pelayo explains why.
The Department of Agriculture has directed all its units to locate all hog raisers in the country. This is in accordance to their plan to buy the hogs directly from the raisers and facilitate the delivery to Metro Manila and other highly urbanized cities. Kadiwa stores installed in strategic places in Metro Manila would sell the meat at a lower prices.
May marching order na sukdulang bilhin ng DA sa tamang presyo. and mobilize the government assets, sir. Para nang sa ganon, matulungan po na bumaba pa yung additional prices.
DA together with other government agencies will strictly implement the price freeze starting February 8. Prices of pork should not exceed 300 pesos per kilogram. Weeks have passed, prices of pork in Metro Manila markets have reached more than 400 pesos per kilo.
Ang nangyayari po dito, kapag sumagad yung taas ng presyo sa farm gate, nagtatranslate po ito doon sa mas mataas na presyo sa pamilihan.
At kawawa naman yung mamimili, ang consumers.
Yes, sir. At ang nagsasuffer, yes, sir. At ang nagsasuffer po nito ay ang consumers. So, we're looking na kapag kinap natin sa palengke, magta-translate po, babalik yung presyo doon sa farm gate na yun sa tama lang.
The DA also disapproves a campaign for a pork holiday led by a consumer group.
Yun po namang threat ng pork holiday ay wag naman po sana kasi nako-compound yung problema. Alam naman po ng Department of Agriculture yung problema at ang Department of Agriculture naman, sir, ay patuloy pong kumikilos.
Ray Pelayo, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
Highways is targeting to open this year two newly constructed bridges donated by the Chinese government. Joanano tells us why.
Department of Public Works and Highways Secretary Mark Villar and Chinese Ambassador to the Philippines Wang Xilian conducted an inspection in the ongoing construction of the Binondo Intramuros Bridge. The project is currently halfway completed and will soon connect the San Fernando Street in Binondo to Solana Street and Riverside Drive in Intramuros Bridge. According to the DPWH, once completed, this will ease traffic congestion within Jones Bridge as well as in MacArthur and Delpan in Manila, as this will provide easy access to Andes Circle, Loton and R10. The project was supposed to open this March 2021. However, due to COVID-19 pandemic, the target completion was delayed to September this year. The Binondo Intramuros Bridge is a donation from the Chinese government, which means that the Philippine government didn't spend any fund for the project.
This is a big help in our decongestion program for Metro Manila. These bridges are done with a grant from China, so at no cost to government. We are assisting them in the construction to make sure that's finished.
Another China-funded bridge that was supposed to open on May this year is the Estrella Pantaleon Bridge that will connect Estrella Makati and Barangka in Mandaluyong City. Construction of Estrella Pantaleon Bridge is now 70% completed.
All our projects are very we're progressing very well. All our government-to-government projects, and we have a lot of projects in partnership with China, who's well known for their bridge construction.
The two bridges are part of DPWH master plan to resolve intense traffic problems in Metro Manila. Joanano, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
For those watching us on YouTube, please click the subscribe button you see on the right side of your screen and ring the bell for notification. You may also follow us on Facebook.
The death toll in the ammonia leak incident in NAVOTAS City has now risen to 2. Meanwhile, the cause of the leak is still under investigation. Dante Amento will give us more details live. Yes, Dante, good evening.
William, one male is added to the casualty due to the ammonia leak incident transpired in a cold storage facility in NAVOTAS City. Victim Joselito Hazareno, 54 years old, is a company electrician.
Ito ho ay natagpuan malapit ho doon sa lugar kung saan nagkaroon ho ng ammonia leak. Ang ating hong Bureau of Fire Protection at ang ating hong PNP SOCO ay iniimbestigahan ho ngayon yung bangkay.
Of the 96 individuals who were rushed to the hospital yesterday, 26 of them are still in the hospitals and 5 are allegedly in critical condition.
Unang-una po pumutok, yung narinig namin yung putok, tapos naglabasan na po kami. Yung naramdaman na lang namin yung yung nakaamoy din naman, nakaamoy na kami. Tapos yun, unang-una, sumakit na yung dibdib namin, ganun.
Meanwhile, Mayor Toby Tiangco says that the company is willing to extend assistance to the victims of the incident, which incidentally one of the owners is her mother.
Hindi po natin papabayaan yan, pero hindi po pwedeng tumulong yung local government dyan. Hindi po dahil sa ayaw ko, but because very sensitive po yung position ko. Dahil na sinabi ko naman na yung mama ko ay 25% owner dyan sa cold storage na yan.
Tiangco ordered the closure of the ice plant right after the incident. All the residents who were evacuated were able to go back to their homes last night. Meanwhile, for now, the BFP is still to begin its investigation on the incident, particularly on the area where the chemicals leaked. BFP NCR Director Chief Superintendent Gilbert Dolot says they cannot approach closer the area because of the high level of toxicity by the ammonia.
May mga nakita tayo mga debris doon ng ruptured na tangke. Ang tawag daw nila dito ay nurse tank ng ammonia. And our team cannot do the investigation right away now sa ating site dahil malakas pa yung level ng toxicity ng ammonia.
BFP is not certain when will be the formal investigation to start, but has already started to gather data that can help the probe.
As soon as nakita natin na safe na ito para sa mga investigador natin na mag-engage doon mismo sa site, igogo natin yung investigation mismo doon sa site para makita natin kung ano pinagmulan.
William, BFP is now looking into some angles, including high temperature that resulted to the rupture of the nurse tank. There was a hot work or welding activity near the tank, and a very old tank was being used. And that's the latest. Back to you, William.
Yes, thank you very much, Dante Amento, for that update. President Rodrigo Duterte has offered retired Armed Forces of the Philippines or AFP Chief General Gilbert Gapay a post on either the Metropolitan Waterworks and Sewerage System or MWSS or Department of National Defense or DND, as he lauded the military man over his successful term in the uniformed service. The president, in his speech before the AFP change of command, rights, and retirement ceremonies in honor of Gapay, said it is up to his 7th military chief to pick from his offer. Gapay did not immediately respond to the president's offer. Lieutenant General Cirilito Sobejana, Chief of the Philippine Army, succeeded General Gapay as the new AFP Chief of Staff.
Sir, after tonight, you might opt to take the MWSS vacated by General Salamat, or you might also choose to be with your home ground, the DND. It's your choice.
President Rodrigo Duterte has approved the acquisition of 15 Black Hawk helicopters for the military. Cabinet Secretary Carlo Nograles said the purchase of Black Hawk choppers will allow the Philippine Air Force to decommission all its Huey helicopters. The president in January said he wanted all Huey helicopters decommissioned because of frequent fatal crashes. A Huey helicopter crashed in Bukidnon on January 16, killing all 7 soldiers on board.
We have only one remaining budget to be discussed, which is the budget for 2022. Given these realities and limitations, syempre we had to temper kung ano yung makakayanan lang po natin. And the realistic number that was discussed was possibly 15. Pero alam niyo po, this number is an indicative number lang po. And it also has a lot to do with the negotiations, syempre na pag-usapan.
The Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency or PDEA will strengthen its campaign to block the bank accounts of members of drug syndicates who have been arrested during operation. Leah Ilagan will tell us why.
The Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency and the Anti-Money Laundering Council, or AMLAC, joined forces to effectively implement the forfeiture of laundered money alleged to be proceeds of illegal drug activities. Under an agreement, PDEA shall refer to the AMLAC drug-related cases for financial investigation and, if warranted, filing of cases involving freeze order, civil forfeiture, and money laundering accompanied with specified case documents that are admissible in court. PDEA Director General Wilkins Villanueva explained that their operations on freezing bank accounts of drug syndicates will be intensified under the memorandum. Villanueva, however, refused to elaborate how they freeze bank accounts of suspected drug individuals.
I assure everybody na pag nanghuli kami ngayon, sigurado pag nakakuha kami ng ebidensya, idediretso namin sila kung saan nila pinaglalalagay ang kanilang mga pera.
The PDEA chief is also eyeing to use the money of drug syndicates in the agency's rehabilitation programs.
Mag-motion tayo sa korte para yung pera nila magamit ng DDB at PDEA para sa anti-drug operation at rehabilitation. Igigisa natin ngayon sila sa sarili nilang mantika.
Villanueva adds they are still running after the Golden Triangle from Southeast Asia, which remains the main source of illegal drugs in the country. Leah Ilagan, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The expected surge in coronavirus cases in the National Capital Region over the recent holidays may already be slowing down, but experts still caution the public against being complacent over the virus. Meanwhile, experts are still monitoring the presence of the new variant from the United Kingdom in the region. Aiko Miguel reports.
Based on the University of the Philippines Octa research team's report, there's no spike in new COVID-19 cases in Metro Manila after the holiday season and the annual traslasyon. It also shows on their reports that the trend of cases in the region is stabilizing, with the reproduction number or R not steady at 1 over the past week. This means the average number of people who can be infected by a person with COVID-19 remains at 1. Also, average number of new cases recorded daily also slightly declined to 379 from almost 400 COVID-19 cases. Octa research team also says that the stabilized state of NCR should be maintained to prevent the overwhelming of the healthcare system in the region. According to Dr. Guido David, based on the reported data, the existence of UK variant in Metro Manila is low.
We have seen some evidence because of some sequencing. I think there was one in Calamba, not in NCR. We haven't tested or sequenced anyone and it showed that the variant is here. So we don't know yet. We haven't sequenced enough. I agree that what I can say with certainty is the possibility that the variant here is here in circulating in Metro Manila is much lower than in some provinces. Like for example in Mountain Province where it was.
Octa research team says strict border control should still be implemented to prevent the entry of new variants while waiting for COVID-19 vaccine inoculation. Meanwhile, Octa sees increasing COVID-19 case trend in some provinces like in Cebu City, Lapu-Lapu, Iloilo City, Pasig, Mandaue, Butuan, Dagupan, and Davao City. Baguio City and Davao City are both close to 70% critical level of their hospital and bed occupancy. On the other hand, Octa research team says COVID-19 cases will have a downward trend in the country once COVID-19 vaccine inoculation starts, especially in provinces with high cases.
We definitely will see a downward trend. How fast it is, well, we're going to look at it in our models. But it will, of course, depend on how fast our vaccine rollout is and how efficient it is.
The Octa research team agrees with the health department that the inoculation of the populace against COVID-19 is just a factor to consider whether to ease or restrict quarantine protocols in the Philippines. Aiko Miguel, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The country's coronavirus disease 2019 caseload increased to 531,699 after the Department of Health reported 1,590 new infections today as 2 laboratories failed to submit data on time. Recoveries now total 487,927 after 249 more patients recovered from the respiratory disease. The death toll also climbed to 10,997 with 55 new fatalities. There are also 32,775 active cases undergoing treatment or quarantine.
Cabinet Secretary Carlo Nograles said members of the Duterte cabinet are not included in the list of individuals who will be among the first to receive the COVID-19 vaccines. However, Nograles said if the vaccine expert panel will recommend that members of the cabinet should take the first vaccine doses to boost public confidence in vaccines, they will likely heed the recommendation.
Ayaw po namin na maakusahan na kami po ay jumping the line or naniningit po sa pila. Yun po yung iniiwasan natin. Pero kapag sinabi po na, sirs, madam, kailangan ninyo mauna para makatulong sa vaccine confidence, kami naman po ay willing. Personally, I am willing.
The COVAX Initiative for Equitable Global Access to COVID-19 Vaccines has published its first distribution list, planning enough doses for dozens of countries to immunize more than 3% of their population by mid-year. The distribution plan comes with lower-income countries falling behind in the vaccination race, a problem COVAX was set up to address. Ia De Vera reports.
The COVAX facility has published their first interim distribution forecast, containing information on the indicative distribution of 337 million doses of COVID-19 vaccine. 145 participated countries will receive doses based on 3.3% of the total population, in line with the target of immunizing at least 3% population in all countries by first half of 2021. India will receive the most number of doses with 97.2 million, together with Pakistan with 17.2 million, Nigeria with 16 million, Indonesia with 13.7 million, Bangladesh with 12.8 million, and Brazil with 10.6 million. Philippines, meanwhile, will receive 5.5 million doses from AstraZeneca Oxford and 117,000 doses from Pfizer-BioNTech. The distribution list includes 240 million doses of the AstraZeneca Oxford vaccine, licensed to Serum Institute of India or SII. 96 million doses of the AstraZeneca Oxford vaccine under the Advance Purchase Agreement between the Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance, and AstraZeneca for first and second quarter of 2021. The document also contains an overview of exceptional first-round allocation of 1.2 million doses of Pfizer-BioNTech for first quarter of 2021. Both vaccines require 2 injected doses. The distribution list stressed that it is non-binding and may be subject to change due to some caveats outlined in the document. However, it would allow countries to plan for the final allocation of number of doses they will receive in the first round of distribution. Ia De Vera, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
And for those watching us on YouTube, please click the subscribe button you see on the right side of your screen and ring the bell for notification. You may also follow us on Facebook.
Vice President Leni Robredo is among the Liberal Party's choices for its 2022 presidential bets. However, VP Robredo's camp says addressing the pandemic is her current priority. Arlene Delgado will tell us why.
Amid talks on the proposed limited face-to-face election campaign, the president of Liberal Party, Senator Francis Pangilinan, said they have yet to finalize who will run as the party's presidential candidate. According to the senator, the party is busy with their efforts for COVID-19 response in communities, noting that political issues can wait. But they are considering Vice President Leni Robredo being the highest elected official in the LP.
Siya, siyempre, sa mataas na official ng partido at pinakamataas na elected official ng partido. So, she is also being considered. But she herself has said, diba, now is parang wala siyang desisyon. Marami pang pwedeng mangyari. But in the meantime, we just focus on how we can help address this pandemic and the economic crisis.
In a text message to UNTV News, Office of the Vice President spokesperson Barry Gutierrez says Robredo is focused on helping Filipinos to survive the pandemic, saying that it is her priority as of the moment. Gutierrez adds other matters will be addressed at the proper time. On social media, a petition called I'm Ready for Leni is making rounds online in a bid to encourage the Vice President to run for presidency in 2022. As of 7 p.m., the petition garnered over 22,000 signatures out of its 25,000 target. Jorlene Delgado, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Malacanang said it is still too early to discuss the proposal to ban face of the COVID-19 pandemic. Yesterday, the Commission on Elections said it is studying if physical or traditional campaigns will be prohibited amid the pandemic. But according to the palace, the government would wait for the outcome of the vaccination program.
I think it's too early because we're about to start our inoculation campaign. Let's wait what will happen to our vaccination campaign dahil meron pa naman tayong panahon.
The U.S. Justice Department arrested and charged a top member of the Seattle chapter of the far-right group over allegations he had a role in the storming of the U.S. Capitol on January 6 by pro-Trump followers. Meanwhile, Canada has formally labeled the group as a terrorist group. Annie Mancilia reports.
Ethan Nordin, the self-described sergeant-at-arms for the group's Seattle chapter, was charged with obstructing Congress, aiding and abetting and entering restricted grounds as part of the mob that breached the Capitol building. Nordin, also known as Rufio Panman, is one of a half-dozen group members now charged in the assault. Two of the members arrested last month were separately named in a federal indictment, Wednesday formally charging Honolulu leader Nicholas Ox and Nicholas DiCarlo of Burleson, Texas, with obstructing Congress, theft of government property, and 3 counts of unlawful entry. Nordin is now among 183 suspects charged or arrested so far from 39 states and the District of Columbia. Earlier, Reuters reported that the Justice Department is in the early stages of exploring whether it might be able to charge members of far-right groups involved in the storming of the Capitol under a federal law usually used against organized crime. Separately, Wednesday, the Canadian government added the Proud Boys to its list of terrorist organizations. Public Safety Minister Bill Blair announced the Proud Boys were one of the 13 groups now designated as terrorist organizations, including the Russian Imperial Movement and 2 neo-Nazi groups, the Atomwaffen Division and the Base. Annie Mancilia, UNTV News and Rescue, USA. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Meanwhile, the International Olympic Committee reveals its first COVID playbook for the rearranged Tokyo Olympics and Paralympics. Early Briones will tell us why.
in the upcoming Olympics is scheduled to begin on the 23rd of July and the Paralympics on the 24th of August, singing or chanting will be discouraged, with attendees encouraged to clap instead to show support. This is only one of the suggestions outlined under a page titled Think Hygiene in the first playbook published by the Olympics organizers, which is aimed at international federations and technical officials. Attendees will also need to complete a 14-day activity plan, requiring them to detail all planned activities, including travel and accommodations. If attendees fail to adhere to the playbook rules, they risk having their accreditation or right to be at the Games withdrawn. IOC Executive Director Christophe Duby said the activity plan was not created to restrict freedom, but to ensure that all activities are taking place safely and contact tracing is done properly in case of any issues. Other guidelines in the playbook include avoiding enclosed space and physical contact like hugs and handshakes, while public transport should not be used unless permission is given. Further versions of the playbook are due to be published in the coming months and will be aimed at athletes and media. Early Briones, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
To all food scientists out there, you might want to take this challenge. The National Aeronautics and Space Administration, or NASA, is looking for food innovators who can discover a way to feed astronauts more efficiently in deep space. Marvy Delfin will tell us why.
Astronauts need hearty nutrients to maintain a healthy diet in space. But like any of us, they want their food to taste good too. That is why NASA is prepared to pay up to $500,000 for actionable ideas other than dried and packaged foods from Earth for feeding astronauts on long-term space missions. NASA has tried to produce food in space, including the limited cultivation of greens and radishes. Other experiments included the use of yeast to grow nutrients that could supplement astronaut diets, but none of these experiments provided a significant volume of food. On the International Space Station, or ISS, astronauts' food is prepared on Earth, but that is not possible on an extended Mars expedition, as the crew will be busy with science goals and spacecraft maintenance. Astronauts aboard the ISS face a problem they call food boredom, so the contest specifically calls for creators to find a variety of safe, nutritious, and palatable foods that require little processing time. Applicants must keep in mind that the food system should be designed to feed a crew of up to 4 astronauts over the course of a 3-year period and should not weigh the spacecraft down or produce more waste. They also have until May 28 to register and July 30 this year to submit their proposals. NASA will award $25,000 to up to 20 teams. NASA's lead scientist for advanced food technology, Grace Douglas, says that while NASA has knowledge and capability in this area, it understands innovations exist outside the agency. Like many technologies developed by NASA, the ideas may have implications for life on Earth by helping us to learn how to grow crops in harsh environments and reduce food insecurity. Marvy Delfin, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
And those are the reasons behind the news, February 4, 2021. I am Herlene Delgado.
Reasons we deliver to you as they unfold. I am Angelo Castro III.
Because we need to know, we will always ask why. I am William Theo. We serve the people. We give glory to God.